Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome once again to Happy Hours of Coaching. I hope all of you are doing great. And once again, very happy to be in the midst of all of you and talking about another interesting topic. I intend to talk about leadership styles for coaches. What would be the right leadership style which would be applicable for coaches? This is Ashutosh Bhatodekar, working as an enterprise agile coach, a trainer and a consultant. And yeah, I had announced this topic last week, but there was a very interesting article which came in Times of India, which is what I have put a snippet there, right? That in hybrid workplaces, you need more people to be performing the role of a coach rather than that of a manager. I'm sure many of you would have read that article. Many of you would have read what the article is trying to tell there, right? I'm sure you would have read about it, and I'm sure each one of you would be having your own thoughts and views about it. Yeah, and of course, as I said, right, I'm not influenced by that article. I fundamentally believe in what I will be talking about towards the end of the session. About myself, Ashutosh Bhatodekar. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I also have my YouTube channel. I think many of you are already subscribers of the YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, you will find almost 100 plus videos to help you grow and learn. And something I always believe in, giving back to the community. So I have created that channel. There will be more videos in upcoming days on the channel. And yeah, very happy to see some very encouraging feedback. In case you would like to subscribe to the channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I have shared the link with all of you here. Those of you who are live on Facebook or on, let's say, LinkedIn Live or YouTube, don't worry, you will get the link to the subscription channel. I've also written a lot of articles on Agile, and some of them are on DZone, some of them are also on medium.com. You can locate those articles and you can read those, and obviously I'll be more than happy to have your feedback on those articles. Okay, so that's about me. And yeah, I mean, if you need any coaching on on, let's say, Scrum Master or product ownership, feel free to connect with me one-on-one. I'll be more than happy to guide you and mentor you around that. Okay, so let me directly jump into the topic. And let me first let us understand what is leadership all about. And there are many definitions of leadership. I'm sure each one of us has seen a definition of leadership, but the definition which I love the most is this definition: is the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence and guide followers or other members of an organization. So this is a definition which I would pick up out of all the definitions of leadership, right? I mean, there are so many definitions of leadership. You just Google it, you'll get thousands or hundreds of definition on leadership. But the definition which stands out is this definition. Moving ahead, so let us try to understand some elements of leadership. Now, one of the very interesting models of leadership is this model called as situational leadership model. So there is no right or a wrong leadership style. That is one thing which I wanted to begin with. Each leadership style is situational. It depends on the situation you are in. For example, if you are in the midst of a hostage crisis, the leadership which is demanded from the military or the political powers is very different from vis-a-vis, let us say, you are in an Olympic sport. The kind of leadership you would like to display there, that obviously will be a different leadership style. So I'm not again going into the details of this model, but this is a very famous model, which is the situational leadership model, which talks about the 4 zones of leadership. On x-axis, you have the task behavior from a scale of low to high. And on y-axis, you have the supportive behavior, or basically what we call as the behavior pattern or the relationship behavior between the manager and the team, right? So again, that is going from a scale of low to high. And there are 4 interesting quadrants what we see in this situational leadership model. Incidentally, this has been developed by Ken Blanchard and Paul Hersey, and they call it as the situational leadership model, which is, as I said, one of the very famous leadership models what we have. So there are four quadrants which are there. Quadrant one is the S1 quadrant. This is where I'm, as a leader, I'm more focused on task, getting the work done, rather than on the people domain. So such leaders who fall in this quadrant, they love to tell, okay, do this because I'm saying, do this because we have a deadline coming up on next Friday. Okay. And you should also do it in this way. Okay. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Okay. Try to do it in this way because we have a deadline coming. We cannot miss the deadline, or we cannot go ahead and skip the deadline as such, right? So such kind of leaders are basically the leaders who are going to tell. They're going to tell, okay, do this work because I am saying. So this is telling zone. Then the second leadership style is the selling zone. So it is at the extreme top right corner, maximum focus on task behavior and also maximum focus on relationship integration or interacting with the people, right? So leaders provide direction in this case because obviously the focus on the task is high, but they also want to sell their ideas on board. They are kind of a leaders who would have thought about something very, very innovative, but they would need some kind of a validation from people. They may not want to directly take it along themselves. They would like some amount of validation or some amount of a confirmation from people there. And those leaders are basically selling. They are called as the sellers. I mean, they come under the sellers, what we have. The third one in the blue color box, S3, is the participative leadership style. Okay, so participative leadership style is more where the true leader and the servant leadership comes into picture, right? They work with the team, they delegate work, they provide less of a direction. The vision is there. Okay, when you say less of a direction, doesn't mean that the leader is only going and sitting in a cabin in the office. They provide that vision, they provide that direction, and they make sure that the team owns up the responsibility. The team is not shirking away from taking responsibility. So that's the participative leadership style, or the third kind of a leadership style what we have. And the fourth and the last one is a delegation leadership style, where less on task behavior, less on the relationship building. The focus is more on monitoring progress, but giving full hands off to the team. I mean, that's what we call as the delegating leadership style as per this model. Okay, S1, S2, S3, S4. That's a situational leadership model, which I have picked up from, I mean, from the two gentlemen whom I named you earlier, right? I mean, that's the situational leadership model by Ken Blanchard and basically Paul Hersey, who have actually crafted this model. Now, I'm not saying that this is a journey you have to take. Okay, you have to necessarily go from S1 to S4. Many times we see leaders also moving from S1 to S4, though it is rare, but we do see that happening. Or S1, S3, S4, thereby skipping the S2 part of it. So again, there is no right or a wrong approach. There is no right or a wrong model. What we have, what this model talks about is there could be different situations where the same person could be applying a totally different leadership style, or the person could be having a totally different leadership angle to it, is what we call as the situational leadership model, what we call it. Okay, so now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some interesting leadership styles. But before that, yeah, one more important thing before that, there's also something interesting study which has been done by Frederick Lalox in his book Reinventing Organization. And why I introduced this concept here is to a certain extent, your organization ecosystem also contributes to your leadership style. And I'm sure many of you would have read this book already, or many of you would have gone through at least what this model talks about. This model talks about mainly 5 levels of organization which are there, or 5 main categories of organization. So you have red organizations, which are predominantly mafia-based organization, right? Heavily command and control kind of a organization which is there. So those are the red organizations which are there. Then we have amber organizations. Amber organizations are organizations which like military or army or air force, etc., right? Where there is a power, there's a hierarchy, there's a formal process, right? And lot of, I would say, bureaucratic things are there, right? I mean, that kind of an organization. Then we have orange organizations, which are profit-oriented organizations. They thrive on competition, they thrive on innovation, but there's also a cutthroat competition. There's incentives. There is a carrot and a stick policy, which these organizations have. And then we have the green organizations, which basically include participative leadership. So they make sure that your team members are also involved in, in the leadership decision. So whatever decisions we are taking, your team members are also involved into this. And last but not the least, on the top pyramid, you have what is called as a teal organization. Now, teal organizations are those organizations which are driven from purpose, which are driven from self-management. They replace the formal hierarchy with intrinsic motivation. So nowadays, there's a lot of talk on intrinsic motivation. There are two types of motivation. One is extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is your salary and perks which are there. Intrinsic motivation is all about how people can be motivated, even from a salary perspective, right? I mean, even if, it's not about the money matters, it's not about the incentive, it is about how they are motivated to work. I always use this quote, right? I'm sure you would have heard about this very famous chain, TGIF. You know what is TGIF? Anyone would like to answer that? TGIF? TGIF, it's Friday, by the way, incidentally, as we are speaking. So, you know TGIF? There's a very big, interesting chain, restaurant chain, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Okay, thank God it's Friday is the name of that chain, if you remember, right? Yeah, I always say, and there's another quote which is there, which many people use. I've seen many of my ex-managers also using it. Oh God, it's Monday. Oh God, it's Monday, and thank God it's Friday. Okay, so those are the two quotes which we normally see, right? Or which we normally hear. Thank God it's Friday, and oh God, it's Monday. I always say one of the best coaching you can give to your team members is just replace the days in the two words. Okay, so thank God it's Friday. Okay, and oh God, it's Monday. Okay, you have these two quotes, and I'm just putting it on notepad here. Okay, I'm just putting it on notepad here. Just swap the days. And believe me, that's the success of your coaching. So instead of thank God it's Friday, it should be thank God it's Monday. And instead of oh God it's Friday, oh God it's Monday, it should be oh God it's Monday. Okay, that is what will bring about intrinsic motivation. That is one of the best formulas for intrinsic motivation which I can think of. Of course, it is not as easy to swap words as I'm speaking here. It's a big journey. It's not a final destination. There are a lot of times you will see team members coming back to your old ways of working, your organization trying to again pull back the transformation in your reverse direction. So it's not easy to swap these words. But I would say that as a coach, the real success criteria for a coach would be that if you are able to reverse these two words in the common vocabulary of corporate lifestyle, right? Thank God it's Monday. Oh God, it's Friday, right? So I'm longing to come back to work. It doesn't mean that I don't need a rest. Okay, I'm not implying that you don't need a work-life balance. But the motivation is that, yes, with full zeal, I'm not going to crib about Bangalore traffic or Pune traffic. Oh my God, again going to Electronic City, or again going to Hinjewadi in Pune, or let us say Seeps in Mumbai. I'm not going to crib about it. I will go with the equal zeal to office on a Monday morning. All right. Now, let me talk about some of the leadership styles. The pictures might be controversial. On a lighter note, I'm saying this, the pictures might be controversial. But what I will be doing first is I'll be showing a picture to you and tell me what leadership style comes to your mind. Okay, so we'll be talking about some very commonly known leadership styles. And the picture will help you to identify. As I said, the picture might be a little controversial, which is okay. I mean, I'm not here to actually create controversy, but just to show you some pictures which will come up. Okay, so this is the first picture which has. So this is the first picture which has come up here. Any guesses what could be this picture be of a leadership style? So I'm going to talk about some interesting leadership styles. And if you can just put it in the chat box, what picture, what is the leadership style, what it is talking about? Dictatorial. Interesting. You got it on the first one, right, Sumana? Okay, great, great. So this is nothing but autocratic or dictatorship. Okay, this is autocratic leadership style. I think the angry cat says it all, right? I mean, the angry cat, what you see here is saying it all. Now, such kind of leaders, obviously, you know, I'm sure each one of us would have worked with these leaders each one of us would have, I'm sure would have interacted with these leaders. They believe in the philosophy, my way or the highway, right? Whatever I'm saying is right, right? It has to be right because I'm saying, right? One person is in the helm of affairs, and he or she takes all the critical decisions. Okay. Now, one word of caution, we generally consider this to be a negative trait, and even the picture exemplified that, right? But sometimes it is required. I'm again repeating sometimes. And when I say sometimes, it cannot be the rule. It has to be an exception. Only in few of the cases, this might be required. I won't even say it will work, but this might be required. There's a difference between working, whether the leadership style is working, and whether it is required. But in some cases, it is required. And I remember a very interesting example where I had to use this. Okay. And you know what had happened? I was a part of an agile transformation for an organization. And this has nothing to do with work. Okay. When I applied this technique, we wanted to organize this is a pre-pandemic example. Unfortunately, those days are gone now. We wanted to organize a trip, a one-day outing of the team because of the good work they had done. And I was given the responsibility by the arts and culture team to organize that event. And in my coaching style, I started asking people, okay, where do you want to go? So out of 50 people, some said Goa, some said we should go to South India, some said we should go to North India. No one was reaching a conclusion. Okay. And we had to book the tickets and all. There was hardly 15 days left. And people were always debating. Moment someone used to say Goa, other person used to say, no, Goa is not great. Okay. I mean, yes, I've been there so many times. There's nothing so great about it. Then other person used to say Ooty, probably we should go in a hill station in South India in Ooty. Okay. And then the third person used to say, no, we should go to a Jim Corbett Park and we should watch the tigers there, right? And all these influential people, no one were arriving at a decision. Finally, one day I had my foot down. I said, the plan done. We all are going to Goa. Okay, that's my final decision. Okay, because if I would not have said that, within next 2 to 3 hours, we would not have got tickets for that. I said, whoever wants to come to Goa, come with me. But finally, we are going to Goa. Okay, that was the final decision which I had made. Now, that is the autocratic decision-making technique, not in a workplace, but similar to this example, there could be many situations where you might have to apply, though it has to be a very, very minuscule as a coach. It has to be a very, very minuscule situations where we are not at all moving ahead. Things have become standstill. One person will have to pitch in and take up that ownership. And I am again not saying that it's only the coach who has to take this decision, or the team who has to take, the one person from the team has to take this decision. And someone will have to step up, and someone will have to say, guys, now it is too delayed. I think we'll have to arrive at a decision. And if we don't arrive at a decision in next 15 to 20 minutes, I think we should go ahead with this decision technique. Okay, this is what should be the decision which is there. Okay, so majority we tried. So Srinivasan has a question. We tried all those things, by the way. Okay, there was no majority which was reached, and even people who were voting, they were going back and forth. That is where I'm coming from. Okay, so we tried all those techniques: majority, plurality, what standard techniques of voting are. Okay, anyways, let's go to the next picture. Which leadership style is this? What do you think is this leadership style? A very interesting leadership style which is there. Sloppy. Sloppy leadership style. Interesting. Passive is correct. Passive to some extent is correct. There's a French word for this. There's a French word, and pardon me if I'm not able to pronounce it correctly. It's a French word. It is called laissez-faire. So laissez-faire is a French word which is there. And many times we might have to, in fact, most of the times as coaches, we have to use this leadership style. Okay, it does not mean that the leader is sleeping, unlike the picture. Okay, I just introduced this picture to magnify this on a higher scale, but it doesn't mean that the leader might be sleeping, but he or she has not gone into hibernation. I hope you know the difference between sleeping and hibernating, right? Our pieces also, sometimes they go into a sleep mode, sometimes they go into an hibernation mode, right? So the leader might be sleeping or ignoring. I would rather use the word avoiding taking decisions. The leader will do a full delegation. The team is empowered to decide what works for them and what does not work for them. There is no micromanagement. And such leaders do not interfere with day-to-day working. They just will give that guidance. They will allow or they will empower their team members to use creativity. And basically, they trust theory why. I think I'm sure you would have heard about theory why. Theory why you have heard, right? Douglas McGregor's theory why. There are two types of people who are there: theory X people and theory Y people. Theory X people do not trust the theory X people do not trust. There's a lack of trust in the employees, right? Whereas theory Y people, there is a lot of trust in the employees. Theory Y managers are those managers who trust. So these are theory Y people who are there, right? So the cat is fully trusting that, yes, I mean, I know that my team can do the work. And there's a very interesting game in case, maybe I will take a session on this some other day. I haven't yet taken the session. This is from Management 3.0. This game is called as Delegation Poker. So there are those 7 cards which will tell you what you should be doing for a situation. Let's say team member, who should decide the leaves of the team members? Is it something which the project manager should decide, or is it something which the team members should decide? Let's say you are buying a new tool. You're buying a new tool for your project. Who should decide? So there are those cards which are there. The 7 cards of delegation poker. As I said, it's you can go on the Management 3.0 website, and you can have a look at this game, delegation poker game, which is there. But what I'm trying to tell, maybe, yeah, as I said, I will take a session on that in upcoming days as a part of Happy Hours of Coaching. But what important point I'm trying to tell here is that this is hands-off decision making. And another interesting talk on this is by David Marquardt. He has got a 10 minutes video. Just to tell you who David Marquardt is, he is the former US Navy SEALs commander, who actually was commanding a nuclear submarine. And in that video of 10 minutes where he talks about delegation, he says that most of the decisions on that nuclear submarine were delegated to the cadets. He kept only one decision, and I think no prizes for guessing on a nuclear submarine what decision he will keep to himself, was that when to launch a nuclear torpedo. Should we launch a nuclear torpedo or not? That was the only decision he kept with himself. But rest of all the decisions, he goes on to say, and one very important statement he makes is, let people who own the information take that decision. So the decision should be taken at the source where the information resides, not at the CEO or the CIO level, where they again ask for information. Okay, send me this report, or give me this data, and then only I will take the decision. No, empower the team. Whoever has got the information, that person or that entity should be empowered to take the decisions on for the benefit of the team. So that is what David Marquardt talks about in his very interesting video. Do also watch that video. I mean, you can also watch that video where he talks about basically empowering and allowing people to take decision where the information is residing, or where the place where the information is lying. Okay, let us move ahead to the third picture, a very interesting picture coming up, and I'll be happy to know what is this all about. The third picture, yeah. Very interesting picture, right? Third one. Suddenly now we have a new animal. So incidentally, just on a lighter note, I wanted to actually use lions, but because of a controversy in India recently, I skipped that idea totally. I mean, I could only get cats and tigers. I mean, I thought that it will be safe to play with cats and tigers because of the lion controversy we had. Yeah. Anyone would like to suggest what is this leadership style? What kind of a leadership style is this? This is a cat looking in the mirror. Okay. It is a cat only. Okay. Looking in the mirror, and she's seeing something very interesting. So what is this leadership style? I'm sure you have seen this picture before. Anyone? I hope I'm audible. Hello. I hope I'm audible to all of you. Transformational. Perfect. Yes. This is a transformational leadership style. Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, attitude matters, right? It is, I might be a small cat, but attitude is what matters. This is a transformational leadership style, which is there, right? And a transformational leader is a leader who's a game changer. Someone who has out of the box thinking, someone who actually disrupts the industry. We have a lot of examples in this VUCA world, what we have, right? Leaders who have not only survived the COVID pandemic, but who have actually thrived. who have actually seen their, their value increase over a period of time, right? So such kind of a leadership is a transformational leadership style, what we call it, right? They basically challenge themselves. They challenge themselves to come out of their comfort zone, and they say that we are going to disrupt. Either we will disrupt ourselves or we are going to disrupt the market, right? On the other side, it can go on the either side, right? It's okay. Even if we fail, it is okay. At least we have tried disrupting the marketplace, or we have tried to actually come out with innovative products. So such kind of leaders are very, very inspirational. It is very exciting to work with such kind of a leader, because the image which they see of themselves is that of a transformational leadership style, right? When I look at myself in the mirror, I see 10 years from now, this is what I look, right? I might be a cat today, but my attitude, my persona is more of a king of the jungle, right? I'm more like a tiger who will roam freely around in the jungle, right? So I'm going to be that business or that industry disruptor. I'm going to encourage innovation and creativity, and I will be the role model. People would love to work with me. People would love to associate with me. And again, I'm repeating, it might be a failure. The mirror might break, and then you realize that, oh, it was not a tiger. Whatever I tried to build that mirror, which showcases me as a tiger, it has broken one day. That is okay. The mirror might crack or the mirror might break, but they are going to come out of it. Going to come out of it with better leaders and better, I would say, human beings more than better leaders. Okay, so this is what we call it as a transformational leader, someone who's there to disrupt the marketplace, or someone who's there to basically make sure that at least I will make an attempt to challenge the status quo. Such kind of leaders have got sometimes, yes, they do go into overconfidence. I'm not denying that, but such kind of leaders have got that confidence. They have got that confidence to take on whatever may be the situation. Okay, the next one. Yeah, let us see the next one. Yeah, interesting picture again in front of you. Yeah, what is the next one? Any thoughts? Leadership style. Aggressive. I thought maybe I'll have to change the picture if you're thinking it is aggressive. Charismatic, perfect. Yes, Aditi, perfect. Charismatic leadership style. Charismatic leaders. Who are charismatic leaders? Charismatic leaders are leaders with a very, very charming personality. Okay, these leaders are the ones who think beyond their work, who are very good communicators, very pleasant personality. They work for social causes also. And I think in pandemic, we saw a lot of such leaders, right? In India itself, we saw a lot of such leaders. Okay, and someone who uses his or her communication skills to talk about topics beyond work, right? They might talk about the government policy. They might like it, they might not like it, but they are not going to be aggressive like those newsroom debates. Okay, I'm not talking about those debates. They will, whatever are their concerns, they will voice it out. They will clearly voice it out in a very, very mild and a hushed tone, and people would be expecting them to talk about it. I think you got the examples. I'm tempted to give an example here. I normally don't. I try to make it less controversial, but I'm giving examples. The best example I can think of a charismatic leadership style in India is Mr. Anand Mahindra. He talks about so many topics, right? He might be talking about even someone who's doing a bungee jumping, right, in some forests somewhere, right? Or he might talk about some crisis which the country is facing, right? Another example is Dr. Kiran Mujumdar Shah. I would consider them as a charismatic leaders, right? They are the ones who use they have very charming and pleasant personality. I'm sure each one of us would like to talk with these two people if we meet them in a lounge, or if we meet them in a flight, or if we meet them in their office. If we get an opportunity, I'm sure each one of us is going to basically be very happy to talk with these leaders, right? So they bring about, these are leaders who at the end of the day, if you listen to them, you feel motivated, right? So if you had a bad work day, let us say you had a very bad work day, your database server crashed, you were not able to recover from it, and then you have to again go tomorrow morning early. Now you have come back at home, and just before sleeping, you might want to just go quickly through the news, and you don't want to go through those ugly debates where people fight, and you just look at the tweets of these two gentlemen or these charismatic leaders. I'm sure you will forget everything what has happened during the day. These are the go-to person, not in the sense go-to person, but they act as a mentor for you. At least for me, I have experienced this. When I look at a comment of a charismatic leader, I feel that I'm a little charged up, right? I mean, I tend to forget the pains and sorrows at a workplace or at a personal front, which I might have experienced during the day, right? And it could be on any topic, as I said, right? It could be even be like on a topic like service charges on restaurants, which is a burning issue in India right now, right? Whether the restaurants should actually charge, take service charge or not, right? So such kind of a leaders, they actually bring about a lot of humor element also, and they are also looking forward for social causes. So these are charismatic leaders which are there. Okay, the next one now. Yeah, this one. Again, a cat. The next one. Yeah, anyone would like to basically guess this leadership style? I mean, may not be a correct representation of what I'm trying to say, but this is the best picture which I could get. So I took up this picture. No, this is not a laid back. I don't think this cat is a laid back. In fact, this is much more, I would say, I mean, I'm a laid back person in life. I don't do exercises and all. But I don't think this is a laid back. This is, in fact, I thought a cat doing an exercise. Okay, so I took it in this way that this is more like a cat going that extra mile. Okay, cat going that extra mile. So I took it for servant leadership. Maybe the picture representation may not be correct. Maybe you can share a good picture of a cat which depicts servant leadership. I thought that someone who's there to walk that extra mile. I mean, stretch herself or himself and walk that extra mile for the benefit of the team. Right. So that is a servant leadership style. And I think this, we all know the historical context of servant leadership. Robert Greenleaf introduced this term in 1970s in one of the articles where he published this. And I would say this leadership style is like that boy in that video, which we saw in the beginning, right? Someone who's there to remove that impediment. He knew that he alone would not be able to solve the problem, but someone had to take that start. And he started it. Other people, other kids joined him. If you closely observe that video, first the kids joined that, other kids joined that small kid, the school going kid. And then people became so embarrassed that they had to come, right? I mean, what are you doing there, right? I mean, it's easy to crib. It's easy to crib about the system. It's easy to crib about the fault lines. But what are you doing to remove the impediments? This is also one of the coaching tips I give. I mean, in one of the interesting coaching conversations, you know what happened? I mean, we have a daily scrum, as we all know, right? The team members said, see, a day before yesterday only, we told this impediment to the scrum master. Then I said, what happened to that impediment? As a coach, I asked that question. The team said, you know what? The scrum master was sick for 2 days. So nothing happened. I said, why didn't you take it up? If the scrum master is sick, you should have taken it up. No, one of you should have taken the ownership. They said, no, we thought that as per Scrum Guide, it is the scrum master who is supposed to remove the impediment. I said, no, there is something in the letter and there is something in the spirit. What in reality, you're not going to be person dependent, right? And also now the Scrum Guide officially says that these are now accountabilities. These are not roles, which means anyone can take up this. Any one person can take up these accountabilities. So if the Scrum Master is absent, doesn't mean that you have to wait for the Scrum Master to return after he or she is back in action and then resolve the impediments. Anyone can take up the impediments, right? And start working towards it. So servant leader is a leader who's working towards promoting the well-being of his or her team members. We all know that definition. Someone who encourages his or her team to think beyond the obvious and challenges the team to lead. Okay, such kind of leaders lead, but in a different way. And of course, the Scrum Guide does not use the word servant leadership now. It uses the word true leadership now. So that's the new phrase, what has been coined by the Scrum Guide, which is there. Okay, so that's about servant leadership style. I think, yeah, one of the last pictures which is there. Yeah, this one. What kind of a leadership style is this? Okay, what kind of a leadership style is this? And obviously, any thoughts or guesses for this leadership style? Anyone would like to make an attempt? Look and learn, hands-on. Okay. Well, I would say empathy-based leadership style. Someone who's taking care. Someone who's taking care. I would say coaching and more about the mentorship or empathy-based leadership style. Okay. And such kind of leaders, I mean, when you are taking a coaching leadership style, you're not only protecting protecting your team. Yes, you're protecting your team. You're that safety net or that cushion. So you're telling your team that go and take that high jump, go and take that pole vault. There is a cushion which is available, and I am that cushion, or I am that safety net which is available. So even if you fall down, I am there to protect you. So there is a psychological safety given to the team. There's a cushion given to the team, and such leaders believe that, I mean, if I'm a coach, I believe that my coachee has got much more potential to do the work than what he or she is doing right now. Okay, so that is what we call it as a coach. That is what we call it as a coaching leadership style, which is there. So as a leader, as a coach, I believe that my team member has got much more potential than what he or she is currently having, right? And I can definitely help you to reach that potential. Okay, you may not be the best of the best scrum masters, you may not be the best of the best product owners, but the good part is yet to come. Okay, the good part is yet to come. At least let me take you to that good part. Okay, and then we will see how do we move ahead, or how do we transition you from a good part to a excellent part, which is there, right? Or to the best part, right? So such kind of leaders are the leaders who provide that protective shield. Okay, and that's why I put this picture, like a cat trying to basically cover another cat. Maybe she's trying to basically protect her from cold or from external disturbances, right? That is what we as coaches have to do, right? And at the same time, we believe that our team members have got a better potential, right? That our team members have got more potential. A compassion based or an empathy based leadership style is what is being talked about here, right? So these were some of the leadership styles which I felt I should be covering. I may not have covered all the leadership styles. Definitely, some of them would have got missed out. I'm not claiming that this is an entire literature on leadership styles which I've tried to draw here. As I said, there was a major change which I made in this presentation. There were pictures of lion and tiger, which I removed it just to avoid any controversy because of the situation in, I mean, what we had recently in India. So I removed those pictures and I put a kind of a very docile animal which is there, which is a cat. And one of the last slides which I will talk about is, as coaches, what exactly is the right mix? Again, there is no right or a wrong answer for this. But what I have tried to come out with is a kind of a matrix, or is a kind of a distribution which I think we should be having, right? So primarily, we should be having more of a coaching and a laissez-faire hat as a leader when we are going into our workplace. And interestingly, that article also came yesterday in Times of India, right? Hybrid workplaces requires you to be more like a coach than a manager. And do read that article. It's a very short and a crisp article which talks about it. So as a leader, I would feel that today's leaders require a majority of coaching and leadership. Coaching and laissez-faire, leadership style, followed by servant leadership style. And of course, transformational and charismatic is another 20% is what I would say. In fact, I would rate it between 20 to 30%, and very, very minimalistic. In fact, I would recommend 0 to 5% is what I would recommend as an autocratic leadership style. Autocratic leadership style is like that final button, which you might have to use in only one-off instances. It is not something, I'm not completely discounting it for a reason. As I said, sometimes we do have to use that, as in Hindi, they call it as Brahmastra, right? We might have to use it rarest of the rarest situation. Like the Indian judiciary defines this, right? That, hang to that has to be given in the rarest of rare instances. Similarly, autocratic leadership style has to be used and very sparingly used. In fact, I should think twice before pressing that button, that should I really take this decision. But it's in the rarest of rarest situations where you have to use this leadership style. So I've just tried to combine what would be that ideal matrix for me to become that true leader in an organization. Okay, so these are some of the interesting things. And finally, I would like to end with a very interesting observation which I have seen, that nowadays people don't want to be managed. Okay, no one likes manager. I don't like, even you don't. I'm sure you won't be liking managers, but they want to be led and inspired. So I'm looking for that role model. It doesn't mean that I don't need someone as a role model or a mentor. I may not need someone as a manager because I feel that he or she is too much of micromanaging. my workspace, but I definitely need a mentor, a coach, someone whom I'm going to be happy to go to, the go-to person, or someone whom I'm inspired to be, right? So on that note, I close my talk. And once again, thanks to all of you for patiently hearing me out, my thoughts around it, and contributing to this talk. I'm sure there are a lot of interesting conversations also on LinkedIn Live, which I'm seeing parallelly, but don't worry, I'll be able to respond to you only after this session gets over. So now I'm opening the floor for questions for people who are in the Zoom meeting session. So if you would like to ask any question, I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions which are there. You can unmute yourself now and you can ask me questions. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Ashutosh, thanks for this session. This was great. This is Aditi.
Yeah, hi
I
Aditi.
so knowing about leadership style is great. Is it something you're planning to know more about the situational leadership? You know, when and what situation you should mold your leadership style, not as a not as a thumb rule, but you know, it's really helpful to understand how we can utilize to become a
Yeah,
situational
and
leadership where different flavors can add in. Yeah,
good. You only clarified my answer. Yeah, I was about to say that there is no rule book around it, or there is no standard algorithm. But as I said, that I mean that model is something. Of course, that model I just used as a reference for situational leadership style. And maybe yes, I can talk about it in another session, that okay, where we use which style of leadership, where exactly is a leadership style more apt to be used in which situation. But yes, that does require to understand what could be the scenarios, what would, so I'll have to build the use cases on it and then try to contextualize it with the model. That is how I'll have to come about with. I'm not sure if there is any already such standard reference which is there. Okay, is there any some standard reference point which is already there, or a blueprint around it which is already existing? So to be very honest, I'm not sure if that exists. But yes, I mean, there cannot be a standard rule book which is there, but definitely you can have something more like, I would say, a kind of I mean, I would say some kind of indicative situations that okay, probably this might work in this situation. I would put it that way.
sure. Thank you.
Thanks Aditi. Yeah, anyone else? Okay. Yeah, no questions. Surprisingly, I thought there'll be a lot of questions, but yeah, I think there are no questions what I'm seeing. Yeah, anyone else, any questions? By the way, you can also reach out to me later. You can also connect with me one-on-one on LinkedIn or on YouTube channel. I'm sharing the links, and feel free to connect with me one-on-one, and I'll be more than happy to talk about or take more questions as we go along. Yeah, anyone else? I mean, you'll have to unmute, as I said, if you have a question. Okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, once again, thanks to all of you for participating in this session. Do subscribe to my channel. I'll be more than happy to hear your thoughts on the videos which are there. And also, yeah, do let me know if you need any video to be of a topic what you need to be shot on. I will be more than happy to shoot a video on that. So on that note, I'm signing off for the day.